All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, June 9th. We got a 9-game MLB slate to dive into in today's video like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays so that I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, it's absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3 for more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. In terms of yesterday, we do have a, I guess, positive win-loss record. We go 5-4, but make no mistake, we do end up losing 0.2 units. It was just based on some of the odds that we took as well as the units that we had put down. For example, 0.75 was like our biggest play yesterday. Lost a couple of those with the Phillies and Pirates first 3 under, which that game only had 3 runs in the whole game, yet all 3 of those runs came, or at least 2 of them, I should say, came in the first 3 innings, and Diamondbacks money line. They do push that first 5, which we were kind of contemplating which one do we want to roll with. Ended up being heavier on the full game. But like I said, we do end up losing just a little bit. Positive from a win-loss perspective, but not from a money's perspective, all right? On the bright side here, the ride of the day streak continues for Ralph. We now have the updated tracker here. You can see he's cashed 2 in a row. Padres and Brewers, Nerfy was the one yesterday, and that was just a low-scoring game in general. So shout out to Ralph there for another ride of the day cash. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it is simple. Tell you guys all the time. Just use that hashtag ride of the day down in the comments, or ROTD down in the comments. Give me your favorite play of the day. I jump on board with one person's pick each and every day. Give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you do win, we continue to ride with your plays. We keep the tracker, which is also located in the pinned comment. You get to keep throwing out your picks until you lose, right? If anyone wants to go undefeated, they'll be on here forever, right? Getting shout outs every single day. If you do lose, we do got to talk about it. You still get the shout out, but you got to face the womp womp from the soundboard. Sound good? Ralph, looking forward to seeing what you throw out today, because again, you are on a little bit of a streak here. Let's go ahead and dive into this slate, guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button down below. Really do appreciate all of the support as of late. I'm having a blast with this MLB season, and that's because you guys are on the other end of this, right? So really do appreciate it. Let's dive into game number 1 here. Cleveland taking on Cincinnati. Kind of a weird one. Not for the Cleveland reasons. Luis Ortiz on the mound here, but Wade Miley gets his start for Cincinnati, and I believe he just signed with the Reds, right? I know he has an appearance out of the bullpen. I think it was only a couple innings, but hasn't made a start since last year, and even last year he only had a couple starts. So we don't know exactly what we're going to get out of him. His career 1.3 whip, 4.08 ERA. You know, he's had some good years, obviously, but also had some struggles. So again, not exactly sure what we want to roll with here, because Cleveland's ultimately kind of juiced through the moon, right? Like, I don't think that this Cleveland team is worthwhile of the odds that we're seeing right now. So we might end up looking at maybe like a Cleveland team total, but gets a little dicey because Cleveland really hasn't been all that great against the left-handed arms. And, you know, yes, they are at home here, but even still, like, their last 3 games averaging just 3 runs per game, at home on the season 3.5. So this is a tough one. I'm curious to see what you guys are rolling with in the comments, because I keep going back and forth. Are the Reds and their offense worthwhile of taking that big plus money shot, or is just like a simple case closed Cleveland spot? I'm probably going to lean towards Cleveland in the first 5 because I trust Luis Ortiz a little bit more. He's been really good at home here, and I like his pitch mix. But again, it's a pretty heavy price tag for a team that has not been hitting. In terms of a total, that's probably all I would say, right? Either an over or a Cleveland team total over, because it's not like I want to sit here and totally back Luis Ortiz. Is he bad? Not at all. He's been actually pretty damn good. But a lot of times when a guy at his level, which, I mean, he's not the creme de la creme, he's been pitching so well, it's almost like I sense a little regression coming. And this is not a bad Cincinnati offense on any given night. Are they consistent? No. But they can definitely put a big number in a hurry. All right, unfortunately, game number 2 has some similar vibes, right? We have Yuri Perez on the mound making his season debut here. Obviously, a really young kid. Hasn't pitched in the majors for a while. When he last did, 2023, 3.15 ERA, 1.13 whip. Like, things looked okay, right? And he has been looking pretty damn good in single A and triple A so far this season. His last start out was about a week ago, 4 1/3, just 1 earned run. I think he had a decent amount of strikeouts as well. So yeah, he probably could be good. And honestly, if I was a big leaguer making my season debut, right, as a young kid, I'm probably putting the Pirates on a short list of a team that I wouldn't mind going up against. So I don't really see him struggling, right? I'm not going to sit here and say that he's going to go out there and absolutely shove, because even in his rehab starts, he's only, or not rehab, even in his minor league starts, he's only going, 4, maybe 5 innings max. And this is a bullpen in Miami that has a little bit of taxing going on here. So I don't necessarily know if that's like the best case scenario, but for the first 5 innings or so, I could see this one being fairly low scoring. It's not like I'm thinking that Pittsburgh goes out there and absolutely crushes him. Mike Burrows on the other side of things. Do we really like Mike Burrows pitching for Pittsburgh? I wouldn't say so, but if he does anything like he did against Houston in his last start, 5 1/3, 5 hits, 0 earned, 6 strikeouts, no walks, we'd take that. So I'm going to go first 5 under. Looks like we're going to have a little bit of, rain potentially in this one as well, but some wind blowing out to the outfield. So those might cancel each other out. But either way, I think that Yuri Perez could come in here and pitch okay. And if you pitch okay against Pittsburgh, I think this could be low scoring. But again, big question mark with the kid starting, right? Much like we just talked about with Wade Miley. I would say Pittsburgh, because they do have a starter that at least been pitching, probably would be my spot here as well if we had to pick a money line side. But both of these games to start off, a couple question marks around, you know what I mean? It's a little tough to gauge these. But then we can jump into one that I am excited to talk about here. We have Zach Wheeler on the bump going up against Matthew Boyd, 2 pitchers that are very, very good. Boyd still has some things that I think he's either working on or figuring out, because he went really hot to start the season, right? And then did kind of fade off a little, not even fade off, but kind of trickled off a little bit. But then a few starts in a row looked really good. And now he's been kind of like up and down, but still most of his starts, like last 5 starts, 2.2 ERA, right? Only allowing, I think it's like, 4 hits per game. So he's been really good. Is he Zach Wheeler-esque? No. I mean, Zach Wheeler's coming off a really bad start, but that was a weird one, right? It was in a doubleheader day. He hadn't let up a run in 3 straight starts. Like, I expect guys to have little bumps in the road every once in a while. Zach Wheeler against the Cubs, I believe, should be in a pretty damn good spot. 120 plate appearances against 119. I rounded up, sorry. 119 plate appearances against the current guys on this roster, right? 29% K rate, 6% walk rate, an average against a 207, launch angle average of 9.5, a WOBA of 263. So I think he should be pretty damn good. You're going to be hard-pressed to find Zach Wheeler with some bad numbers against any team. He's also going to throw a ton of fastballs, which Chicago's team is kind of fading away from some of those fastball, and some of those bigger bats in the lineup. I would say Pete Crow Armstrong being one of the notable ones, is starting to hit, the cutter a lot more and some off-speed pitches, even the sinker as well, more so than the fastball. So that's a very good sign for Zach Wheeler. This is a heavy price tag, but I like the team at home here. I think Philadelphia gets things right. They've lost, 5 or 6 straight games. They've lost like 9 of their last 10. It's like so unlikely that they beat a good team like the Cubs that I think that this is the time that they do it. What I will say is we want to pay attention to the weather in this one, because both of these teams, at least for my own sort of measurement here, have been very, very weather dependent so far this year. This Philly offense, if they get good weather, they can hit the ball. And the Cubs, obviously playing in Wrigley, kind of the exact same thing. So I don't mind the idea of the Phillies putting up a good number against Boyd here. I just think Zach Wheeler is going to hold down the fort enough. If this does end up going to the bullpen and whatnot, I guess you could say that both teams might be cringing a little bit. Both bullpens are fairly healthy, fairly good to go, but neither one of these bullpens is as good as the starting pitching. So I'm going to go with Philadelphia in this spot. I would also say the over, because I think we get some late runs, but it's not because I think that Zach Wheeler is going to let down, and honestly, even Matthew Boyd. I think we could see some late runs in this one. Hey guys, if you weren't aware, we do create an MLB dashboard every single day. It looks just like this. Has pitcher data, bullpen data, pitch mix, so we know what pitches these pitchers are throwing, some team data at the top, offensive numbers, offensive versus specific pitches, player numbers versus the lefty or righty splits, as well as their specific pitches. Super, super simple to get access to this. We have it for each and every game broken out in a visual format. Green's good, red is bad. Makes it very, very simple once you kind of sink your teeth into this. How to go ahead and get access to that is over on GuyBostonSports.com. That's GuyBostonSports.com. Head to the members area. You can click MLB Dashboard. I'm already logged in, so I'll see the dashboard right away. And if you are logged in, you'll see this. You can open up the dashboard. You can print this out. You can download it. You get, again, each and every one. one of these in a visual format each and every day so you guys can kind of get a good sense of the direction you want to go in with your plays, right? If you are not logged in, we'll set this to a not logged in view so you'll see what it looks like. When you click MLB dashboard, it's going to say, hey, pump the brakes, you need a membership. Right now, MLB membership, just $4.99 per month. You can see that here. Or if you want to go all sports, meaning year round, you get all the dashboards that we put out for one price right there, $6.99 per month. These prices are obviously subject to change depending on how much we put into these and whatnot. But the good thing is, as long as you keep your subscription active on any of these, whatever price you get in at, you stay at. Unfortunately, if you cancel and then want to re-up and whatnot, it does not keep it. You got to keep it active. But yeah, go ahead and check it out. This is a really good tool. I built this literally for myself selfishly a couple years ago, and it did not look like this at this time, but I built it so I would be able to come in here and get a good sense of these games prior to recording and optimize my research process, make it quicker, make it more efficient. Now we bring it to you guys for a low cost. So go ahead and check it out. Again, that's GuyBostonSports.com. Head over to the members area. All right, moving on, Red Sox taking on the Rays. This is definitely a tricky one, and I must admit, guys, I do declare, this is a pretty, interesting slate. There's a lot of question marks, like I've already mentioned, some moving parts, some injuries, so not exactly the easiest of slates today. So I think what we're probably going to do is when we like a spot, like maybe the Phillies, we'll go a little bit deeper into that in terms of our final plays and whatnot versus scattergun approaching, right? So we shall see, because this is one where I'm making a case. Like, I've looked at this for, an hour or so now, and I've made a case for both teams both ways. So I'm going to say I like the Red Sox because of the momentum they built off of Sunday Night Baseball and taking the Yankees 2 of 3, okay? And this Red Sox lineup may be back. 11, 6, 10, and 11 runs. Tampa Bay has also been pretty good at hitting. So first and foremost, I don't mind the idea of both team performing, especially when you can get some over 8.5s out there. This started at 9. It's moving back down to 8.5. So over might be what I like. The reason I don't mind the idea of the Red Sox here is I already mentioned their offense, but Brayan Bello hasn't looked all that terrible. He finally pitched a 6-inning game, just 3 earned runs through that inning, 4 strikeouts. I don't think he allowed any home runs, though, against the Angels. One big news piece would be that when he last pitched against this Rays team, looked pretty good, just 1 earned run, and he had some decent numbers against the current roster. So Brayan Bello should be okay in a sense, right? And I think this Red Sox lineup is capable of hitting off of Shane Baz, who's on the other side. The problem is you start to look at this team and, well, the Red Sox bullpen is really shaky, really shaky. I mean, yesterday they pitched damn near everybody in their bullpen, not even exaggerating. And the day before, a lot of those guys like Chapman, Weiser, Justin Wilson, they all pitched as well. So yeah, they'll have maybe Whitlock. Bernardino did throw 20 plus pitches. So really shaky situation with the Red Sox bullpen, right? You flip it over to Tampa Bay. So again, that's kind of leads us into, okay, well, shaky bullpen. Now, how do we get to Tampa Bay? That's what my mind's doing. Well, their bullpen is also still kind of shaky. Shane Baz necessarily hasn't been as fantastic as he was to start the season, and he also has some good numbers, though, against the Red Sox here. Last time he pitched against them was this season. 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned, 11 strikeouts, no walks. So can't you see us starting to make a case now for the Rays? I think the way that I look at this is a pretty 50-50 game, and it makes sense, right? It's hard to argue that. Last time they played, we saw a blowout win for the Rays, a blowout win for the Sox, and then a Red Sox win that they just scrounged out 1-0. So obviously these two teams are fairly similar into where they are competitively. I'm going to go ahead and lean towards the Rays if you can get plus money. This line has been jumping all around. If you can snag a plus number for the Rays or for the Red Sox, I'd follow the plus. I don't know if we're able to get there. I have a feeling this one ends at like -110, and we all get screwed. But I don't mind the Rays if they are plus money. Brayan Bello, I think he could pitch decently, but that Red Sox bullpen I would not want to trust. You can make the same argument there on the other side of things with the Red Sox offense really looking good and the Rays bullpen. So whoever has the plus money, that's what I'm trusting. And hopefully that makes sense to you guys because, again, 50-50 coin flip of this game in terms of matchup and whatnot. But if you get the plus money, you're getting paid out like it's not 50-50. You're getting better value. I don't mind the over, like I said, as long as it sticks down there and we can snag maybe an 8.5. But this is a weird one. I hate to come on here and be kind of like wishy-washy, but it is what it is. I'm not going to just fake confidence for content and be like, I love the Rays today. I don't love them. I like them at plus money. All right, Milwaukee taking on Atlanta. I think we have a play that we like in this one. We have Savali going up against Atlanta Braves, Chris Sale. I like the first 5 under. I could see this being a 2-2 game after 5, even if the offenses kind of go off in a sense. If we can pay the juice and get 4.5 and keep it under -160, I'd call it. We'll do some digging into odds. I think that that's what we would look at. First and foremost, from a record standpoint to this, Chris Sale in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I believe. 8 road starts. He's hit the under in the first 5 when he starts in 7 of those, including 7 straight. You flip it over to Aaron Savali, who only has 1 home start this year, and it was against the Red Sox, 0-0 through 5. So, yeah, I do like the idea of Savali potentially going out there and pitching well as well. He has only been seen 7 times in terms of plate appearances by this current Braves roster, so they might not know his stuff all that well, which is a good thing in this sense. He's going to throw a lot of a lot of cutters and a lot of sinkers. Cutter, 15th, even just using our dashboard, you could see 15th. So Braves just middle of the packet hitting that. And then the sinker, right, 22nd, bottom 10 in the league. So we love to see that. On the other side of things, a lot of sliders coming out of Chris Sale, as well as the fastball, slider 19, fastball 15. I do look at this and say, okay, that's a little worrisome, right? They're very good against lefties over the last 30 days, top 10 in a lot of categories. But it's Chris Sale. That's different than just a lefty, right? So I think that he should be able to, suppress this Brewers offense. I like the first 5 under in this one. I think I have to trust Chris Sale here in this spot. I don't think it's going to be a very high-scoring game, though. So if you like the Brewers, maybe even consider that +1.5 on the run line, because if Savali keeps it close and this thing goes into, the late innings with the bullpens, I do believe that there is a chance that, Milwaukee, I wouldn't say takes an advantage, don't get me wrong there, but these bullpens are both in very similar spots in terms of season-to-date numbers and how taxed their pitchers are, that if it's close late in the game, it could be anyone's game based on those bullpens, especially if the Braves bring in a lefty reliever in a sense. Milwaukee should be able to hit them. So I don't mind the idea of Milwaukee late in the game, but if I were to play this, I have to trust Chris Sale. I'd probably look at them in the first 5, maybe first 5 run line. But I think Savali goes out there and pitches well as well. That's why I'm kind of counting on both pitchers with that first 5 under. Now that total at 7.5, this is almost much like I talked about with the Phillies and Cubs. I see more runs coming late in this game than I do early, so it's kind of weird. I like the idea of a first 5 under, but 7.5, I could see a few runs coming in late that might bust a full game under. So I don't know if it's crazy. I'll sound the psycho alert alarm, but I almost like the full game over, first 5 under, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm the crazy one. Moving on, St. Louis taking on Toronto. Palante on the mound going up against Jose Barrios. I can't seem to ever get behind Jose Barrios, but he's been pretty damn good. Palante on the other side of things, his numbers don't look all that phenomenal, but he's gone up against, or he's actually just had some rough spots, I should say, right? He had some easy spots, like, again, I think against Kansas City and Baltimore's last 2 starts, in which he didn't look good, so I cannot sit there and be like, oh, he's had a rough go of it. By the way, spilt a little bit on my shirt here, if you guys are being like, where'd that come from? I will say, though, I think both these pitchers can give you enough quality through the game to maybe trend this in an under direction. Palante throws a lot of pitches that induce ground balls. Jose Barrios pretty damn good at that as well. Jose Barrios with the sinker, and then Palante with the fastball. I will say that this is a Cardinals team that just cannot seem to hit the sinker. They're bottom 5 in the league. The curveball they do hit well. The changeup they don't. Then the fastball they do. So a little bit of everything Barrios does, they're kind of up and down, right? Palante on the other side of things is going to throw a lot of fastballs, a lot of sliders. I trust Toronto's offense a little bit more than I do this St. Louis one. And not for nothing, Toronto has won 8 of their last 10 games. St. Louis has looked pretty good. I believe that they've won, I think it's like 3 of 5, maybe 3 of 4. They did take 2 of 3 against Dodgers, but maybe that's a spot in which they come out a little flat here. So give me Toronto because they do have a little bit of a plus money right there. I believe they have the better bullpen as well. I'm actually not sure if they're taxed or anything. I know a couple days ago they were, but I believe they should be good yesterday. And yeah, they're not all that bad in terms of, taxation from yesterday. Just 3 guys went. So I think this could be a little sneaky spot for Toronto on the plus money. Do we worry about them on the road? They've only won 43% of their road games this year, whereas St. Louis has won 67% of their home games. Yes, but I think Palante could be in a spot in which Toronto at least puts up a couple against him, but I don't mind the under. Like I said, I think this could be a little bit of a sneaky spot to kind of have, less runs than we're thinking scored. So give me Toronto as well as the under. I know people might not like that under, but I think that has a better chance of even being a final play than Toronto. But for the plus money, we may be sprinkling on Toronto as well. Angels taking on the Athletics. This one's got yikes written all over it. You have the Angels who honestly have been playing decent baseball, but very inconsistent, especially at home. They did just take 2 of 3 against Seattle, so we'll give them credit. The Athletics took 2 of 3 against Baltimore, but prior to that, they had lost 11 of their last 12, something crazy like that, right? We have Jeffrey Springs going up against Yusei Kikuchi. Obviously, Kikuchi probably has the upper hand here, right? Especially, just given the fact that he's at home. He's been really, really good against lefties. There's a lot of lefties in this lineup for the A's. His slider should work, too. They don't hit the slider very well. But Jeffrey Springs, I think, could actually, I hate to say it, but if his slider's working, that's not a great pitch for this Angels team to hit. I think the Angels are the team and the side to look at here. But there's a couple factors that are probably making me say big yikes in this one. First and foremost, Kikuchi, again, has been up and down this year, and throw in the fact that the Athletics may actually have the better offense, especially when you look at the Angels at home. They're not a very good home offense, and the price you'd be having to pay for the Angels. Little crazy, right? And either bullpen can do anything at any time. You have the 30th ranked ERA bullpen against the 28th ranked. You have the 30th ranked whip bullpen against the 28th ranked. You have the 28th ranked K to BB ratio rank bullpen against the 25th. A's with the first team, Angels with the second team for all those numbers. So this is one that seems very, very volatile. Again, I'm going to trust the only sort of guiding beacon that we have here, which I would say is Yusei. He's actually been looking pretty good, 1.4 ERA over his last 5. Gone up against the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Marlins, the Dodgers, and the Padres in his last 5. So let's trust Kikuchi here. I think that that's probably the only real thing. And you know what I mean? Like, we're trying to grasp at something. I think that might be the only real thing that we can totally say, okay, well, we like the spot. But I don't think Springs is going to pitch all that terribly. But Kikuchi should pitch better. So I'm going to lean towards the Angels, and I think this is one where the bullpens can blow it again, so I have to lean over. But we're going to try and figure out how we can back Kikuchi some way, shape, or form, because that slider, again, should be very, very good against this Athletics team. So if you see a player prop for Kikuchi or something like that, maybe first 5 run line, something like that, that's pretty much just us backing Kikuchi overall. All right, Arizona taking on Seattle. Emerson Hancock going up against Merrill Kelly. Kelly's been pretty good, right? I feel like we can't necessarily knock some of his recent success, I guess, in a sense. He has a couple blow-up starts, but even with that, like, he always seems to bounce back with a good start. What I'm noticing about him, though, is he'll have these spots in which, yeah, if it's a bad matchup, it's a bad matchup. And Emerson Hancock, on the other side of things, may be figuring some things out. Last 4 outings, he's not pitching too deep in the games, but 3 earned runs, 2 earned runs, 1 earned run, 1 earned run. So maybe he's starting to figure a few things out. But against this Diamondback squad, with Kelly pitching all right, with the Diamondbacks, honestly, kind of in a little bit of a rut here, but now back home, seems like it could be a spot for them, right? This is a Seattle team that, yes, they just got the win yesterday, now have to go to Arizona, and they lost, 4 games before that win? So, yeah, with the price here at minus 160, I'm going to lean Diamondbacks, but with that price, I do think it's a little bit expensive for a team that just does not seem to be hitting the ball all that phenomenal, honestly, doing anything all that phenomenally. Even their good pitchers. Corbin Burns goes down, Zach Gallen gets hit, so not exactly anything too great about the Diamondbacks here, but if the Diamondbacks do go ahead and get to, say, 5 runs today, I don't know if the Mariners at this point in their season, in the spot that they're in, if they're even capable of catching that. They've only had 5 or more runs in like 3 of their last 10 games, whereas Arizona has even lost some games where they score, 4 or 5 runs. So we'll see what we end up doing here. It's going to be all Arizona or nothing for me, and all team total for them or nothing. I don't really want to involve the Mariners in any sort of total because we don't know exactly what to expect out of them. All right, Dodgers taking on the Padres. This should be a good one. Pivetta against Dustin May. I would say advantage goes to the Padres here, but this Padres squad has been struggling to hit, right? Over the last 30 days, really just seemingly struggling. They got 2 wins in that Milwaukee series. Think about this. This is pretty crazy. 2 wins in that Milwaukee series. In both of those games, they scored 2 and then 1 run. 2-0, 1-0 wins there. Even their losses 4-3. Whereas the Dodgers out here are obviously a good offense. They actually had 2 really bad games against St. Louis, 0 runs and 1 run. But do we really worry about the Dodgers? I don't think so. So this is a spot in which, yes, because they're rivals, this is not just like a bet it and forget it, close your eyes. If we're taking the Dodgers, usually it's because of the odds, and I don't think you can get those odds elsewhere. But against Pivetta, against their rival, that changes things a little bit for me. I think that this is going to be a game where we could see plenty of runs scored. I think the Padres bats wake up, because if you can't wake up at home against your bitter rival, then who can you wake up against, right? It's going to be very telling. And then Pivetta, obviously a very good pitcher, but against this Dodgers squad, honestly, some pretty scary numbers. 139 plate appearances against, so a lot of sample size, right? Expected batting average against of 267, expected WOBA of 364, expected slugging 508. Nothing all that tremendous out of Pivetta, right? Even last time he went up against them was fantastic. So now I'm kind of expecting him to come in here and maybe, and that was what, last year when he was with the Boston Red Sox. Now I'm expecting him to come in here and be like, all right, well, you've seen me recently. I guess that was a year ago, so not recently, but some regressions do. He's also coming off a pretty bad start against San Francisco. But Dustin May also has not been someone that has, one, the best numbers against his Padres team, and two, really even pitching all that phenomenally as of right now. I mean, some of his numbers look good in the season, but his road numbers do look like they struggle a little bit. Also throw in the fact that he throws the slider as his, number 1 or 2 pitch. Guess what team, out of all the bad offense that they've been playing, what team is number 1 at hitting the slider in the last 30 days? You guess it, the Padres. I'm going to go over in this spot, even though we do have 2 good pitchers on the mound. If I had to pick a side, this might be another one we follow the plus money. I think it might be San Diego right now, but I kind of just like both teams to be able to get to these pitchers, I guess, especially being sort of a, a rivalry type game and all that type of junk. So yeah, I'll lean towards the over. Throw in the fact that I think that, let me see the San Diego's bullpen, because they've been in a bad spot they're still terrible. So this is probably a spot in which we could see some late runs as well. Dodgers bullpen pretty taxed too. So you know what? I'm liking the idea of the over more and more I talk about it. I think I just convinced myself. I don't know what the weather's like in San Diego, but it is San Diego, so maybe we're okay, right? And guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Just 9 games. Like I said, there's some wonky ones out there, and we can admit that, right? So if you feel like we're on the fence about anything, like we probably are. So you'll see with the final plays, a few spots that we did like to dive into, and we do got a few units deployed here today on the day. So yeah, go ahead and check out the final plays. That's linked down in the pinned comment. I'll catch you guys in the next one, right? Peace out.